the link in there and it was already in there. All right.
Looking all over for our.
We are live on Facebook. Good morning, everyone.
Good morning, everyone.
I'm Linda.
And I'm Kathy.
And we're here today to talk about self-care and loving yourself. Self-love is the best kind of love because you can't take care of anybody else until you take care of yourself. And a lot of times we're the first person that gets ignored, neglected. Right?
Yeah.
Neglected, all of that. So we're glad that you are here. Hopefully we have some people viewing with us on Facebook through Living Well and Wise, but we welcome you to join us today because we truly want to have a rich discussion about loving yourself and what we do, what we don't do, what we're succeeding in and what we need to work on. So if you are seeing this on Living Well and Wise, please, 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 the link or the link and the password are up above. And so click and join us so we can have this great discussion today. So welcome, Mary.
Welcome, Mary. How
morning.
You doing?
Good morning, ladies.
How was your week?
You don't want to know.
Oh, no. Yes, I do. What happened?
Lousy.
Why?
My son, Stephen, was in the ER on Sunday, was in a psych ward on Monday, was visiting and then wound up back in the ER on, Thursday night. And he's still there. He's in the hospital.
Oh, my goodness. No.
So it's been a miserable, I haven't slept, it's a whole big thing.
And yet
he has no self-love, by the way, at not one.
Well, maybe you can pick up some hints on how to get him started on, taking care of himself and being part of that.
I'm so worried about him.
Oh, you know what?
He's less than 100.
Same here. I'm looking at I'm looking at last week's, I think. I gotta figure this out. Yeah, that's terrible. And you know what? One of the things that made me think that this topic is something that we need to talk about. One, it was Valentine's Day and we were talking about love, and then I think Kathy might have mentioned self-love, but I know several people who are younger people, more my daughter's age, 30, right around, hovering around 30 either way, who don't have they don't have a lot of self-confidence, self-esteem, and definitely not enough self-love. They actually hate themselves. And, I may not take care of myself as best as I should, but I do love myself. I do think that I'm a work in progress and there's always things to improve, Lord knows, but
no matter at what age.
But to have that self-hate or self-loathing and not appreciate yourself as a person is foreign to me. And I wanted to get out and talk about that a little bit, Do you know anybody like that?
Yeah. Yeah, I know a couple people like that, but and you don't know where it comes from. You don't know if it's a chemical imbalance in your body, in their body that causes that,
right?
Or if it's their environment around them, as far as people environment too. I'm not just saying the environment they live in at home, people
right,
from schools, people from work, and were they appreciated and attacked in a way, verbal,
right,
attack, even if it's a subtle one, it can hit a lot of people pretty hard, inside, and then they start believing some of that, and then that's what they're telling themselves.
right.
And you don't want to compare yourself to other people, or people shouldn't compare you to other people in that respect.
Right. Yeah, it goes so deep, but I do think for the average person, if we're not talking about a chemical imbalance, that there are things that you can do for yourself that can help dig yourself out of those holes, so that you don't get deeper into depression and, you are worthwhile. You're an amazing person. And if you don't know that, other people won't know it. You know,
Right.
you've got to have that confidence in yourself and find it and make the choices to, I don't know, best show off who you
Yeah,
are.
and it's just the small little things that you can do for yourself to make yourself feel better about, so many things. It doesn't have to be like a huge,
Mm,
jump all at one time. It's just the little things that can build and create that big thing that, you know, can set you on a more positive mindset for yourself.
absolutely.
And but it's also the little things that, that are the negative little things that tear people down and put them in that situation.
Yeah. And I
So,
was thinking that for some people, I've always been a glass half full kind of person. So I always take what's there and say, oh, this is good, and I know there's a lot of people who are that glass half empty. So you can look at the same set of circumstances and and tweak it or twist it to your own psyche, right?
I,
So, for me, I lost my train of thought there, but the whole idea is like one certain thing, you could say, oh, I only lost a pound this week, right? And feel down on yourself for only losing a pound. And another person's going to be like, I lost a whole pound.
I'm
Yeah.
closer to my goal.
It's an attitude thing, right?
Yeah,
Um,
exactly.
and so that can also feed whether or not we are happy with ourselves, right? So, well, before we skip, we'll go back to this discussion because we're going to change our format a little bit. We used to be really heavy on talking about oils in the beginning and Young Living. And you know what, there's so much more need to talk about our own health and wellness in this group. And the oils are secondary. The oils are something that can help. So we're going to skip over that. Other than what's in your diffuser, Kathy? What you got going today?
Well, actually, I found a blend for my diffuser for today that's called Love Yourself.
Ah.
So in keeping with everything that we're talking about, and these are 3 really good oils that will work together very well, and all 3 of them are uplifting. Number 1, of course, is joy.
Mm.
Okay, it's very uplifting, has a little bit higher frequency to it. Bergamot is also another oil. It's a citrus oil from Italy, actually, and frankincense, all of which are all good positive oils to help you, not just your mind and how you feel, but it also kind of uplifts you spiritually, makes you feel good about yourself. So I have mine going in my diffuser in my right over there, that little black diffuser there,
Oh,
the
I love that
rainstone
one.
diffuser. Yeah,
Well,
it's the
I don't have
rainstone
that one.
diffuser.
I don't have
Um,
any more spot to put a diffuser, but yeah.
So that's going in there for me today. And again, like I said, these oils are amazing. Joy is,
I'm wearing Joy right here.
mhm,
I
so
wear
it
that
goes over your heart.
fairly frequently. There, I'm going to get rid of that so you can see my diffuser. I've got the lantern diffuser behind me. And yeah, I'm wearing Joy, and I wear frankincense every day, twice a day. But mine is called Appreciation Station, and I got this from the February calendar that I posted earlier in my group, and it was actually last Thursday on the 4th. So this one has Roman chamomile, 3 drops, 2 drops of stress away, and that says it all with that oil. 2 drops of cinnamon and 2 drops of nutmeg. And this is just sort of self-appreciation, and it smells amazing. So that's what I've got going today. So our discussion about self-care, self-love, putting yourself first. We already talked a little bit about how that idea came up, but we're just going to do an overview today because as we started to dig into self-care, self-love, there was so much there. so much there. And you know, Kathy mentioned the psychological reasons why somebody might be in a funk and not be loving themselves and not be doing that. We never even hit discussion on that. You know, that would be a whole nother thing. I'd love to get an expert in here about that.
Mhm.
So because there's so much, we're just going to talk about the overview of all of the things it could entail. And then in the future weeks, we're going to, you know, focus on a theme within self-care, loving yourself, and begin to tackle those a little bit, because it's all encompassing, you know. And the group that this is going into, Living Well and Wise, says it right there, right? We want to live well, we want to live wise, we want to do the right things for ourselves. And that's what self-care and self-love, loving yourself, is all about, right? So what in what ways do either of you, or if there's anybody hanging out with us, nobody's on the Zoom on Living Well and Wise. Oh, and if you're on Living Well and Wise and you want to see this in a different format, we are posting this in lindaloveslab.com, and there's a link for Zoom, and the last 4 episodes you can find there. So one of them will get kicked off today, and this one will be up there. How do you practice self-love? How do you take care of yourself when everything's going to crap around you?
Well, I personally like to just, you know, sit back in a quiet room and relax with my cup of coffee and just think.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that's my first main thing. Like if I'm stressed, you know, I have to sit back and remove myself from whatever I feel is the stressor for the, you know, that day or that moment. And then I can, you know, really think about it and think how, you know, like if I need to respond to something in some way, then I will. You know, I have a clearer head too, rather than just, you know,
That's
come
so
up with.
smart, because you know how sometimes when something gets under your skin and you immediately want to, you know, lash back or write that email, it's really smart to think first and choose your words wisely, just so that you can get the right response without putting somebody already at edge or on the offense.
But we
Not
also
gonna
know
listen.
how damaging words can be
Mhm.
and how it can stick with them for forever,
Right,
basically.
right.
So you have to think about the way either being a parent or a teacher or a friend or, you know, your spouse or whoever, before you just flash out back if it's in a little bit of a situation where you're upset about something or they're upset about something. You have to really think before you speak. You know, give yourself that, you know how they say count to 10. There's a reason why they tell you to count to 10,
Mhm.
right? Is to, you know, maybe have time to let something else sink in before you know, explode.
Right, right. And it's so hard when something triggers that, because it's so personal, that it's really hard to stop and think about the other perspective. And I know we haven't really talked a lot about this, but the idea of a fixed mindset or an growth mindset is what it's called.
Yeah,
And the
growth
growth
mindset.
mindset is saying, gee, maybe I made the mistake and now I can learn from this and I can improve myself. Whereas the fixed mindset would say, no, I'm right, they're wrong, that's the end of it, and there's no room for growth there.
Right.
And so, yeah, sitting back and trying to put that other perspective in first is nice. So, but there's lots of other ways that we abuse ourselves, I think, and not just mentally or when there's something emotional that we have to deal with, but lots of different ways. And I think for me personally, one thing I do is I don't always put myself first. There's always something else to be done. There's always work to be done, or I'm taking care of someone else's needs. Now, that has diminished now that I don't have kids, but you know, as a mom, as a parent, I was doing that all the time. In fact, it applied to different areas of my life. So when I was a young mom, well, my kids were about 5 and they started kindergarten. I started volunteering for them in school. And then I became a Girl Scout leader, and I was spending all this time planning and doing things with the Girl Scouts. And I looked back over a 13-year career of being a Girl Scout leader, and where I started and where I ended, just weight-wise and health-wise, I was not a good model, not a good role model for those girls, because I did so much for them. I put my heart and soul into the work that I neglected myself. And then I made an observation, because I had a blog at one point for Girl Scouting, and I made an observation as I was leaving, because my daughter was a senior in high school and I was done. I wrote a blog article to people saying, you have to stop and take a look at yourself and take care of yourself first. Because I observed that the greater percentage of Girl Scout leaders, at least in our group, were not in the best shape. We're not in the best health. We took care of everybody else around us, but we didn't take care of ourselves. And we were a group of, you know, overweight and out of shape women who were trying to be role models and help these girls. And yet we weren't doing the very thing that we wanted them to do. So as a caretaker now for my dad, I find myself doing the same thing, as like putting him first or putting my husband first. And I'm just a giver, I guess. I don't know, but you know, it takes a toll. Plus it's easier to not do the hard stuff, right? Like my daughter was here and I was exercising a few days a week with her. Since she left, nothing. Oh, but I got to do this. Oh, I got to do that, you know? And I'm working on taxes. Oh, when the taxes are done, I'll get around to exercising. And I know from experience that it's all talk, and that there's always something else that's going to get in the way of you taking care of yourself. So you've got to put yourself first.
And sometimes I think of when I'm mentally exhausted, I don't feel like doing any of the other things, you know? So
Right.
maybe some of that might be, you know, you were mentally exhausted as well, because there's
Right.
always so much going on, so many things to do, so many things to worry about or whatever. So when you're mentally exhausted, I think that affects you physically as well.
Right.
And I'm not saying mentally exhausted in a bad way, mentally exhausted just from, you know,
Doing and not letting your brain rest, not letting other things, which is a perfect segue to this book, Sacred Rest by Sandra Dalton Smith, Dr. Dalton Smith. I'm about a third of the way through this book. I have to get back into it. But what she talks about sacred rest is not just getting enough sleep, which is something that we all suffer from, is not getting enough rest, or, you know, insomnia gets in the way, and how to get through some of those things. But it's not really all about that. She talks about different areas of your life. I'll just run down the list. So physical rest is what we think of when we need that sleep, right? We need to just rest our bodies and get the sleep. But there's also mental rest, emotional rest, spiritual rest, social rest, sensory rest, creative rest. And I forgot what she said about give it a rest. Give it a rest. I looked it up and then I forgot what it was too. But in other words, the whole idea of this book is that in order to be well rested, you have to be well rested in all of these different areas, and you have to address all of them. Getting a good night's sleep may not be enough, especially, you know, those nights where it's the mental rest is getting in the way, where you've got so much stuff in your head that you haven't let it go, which interrupts your sleep. So whether you're sleeping or not, it's still not going to be a restful sleep or a rejuvenating renewal, because you haven't let the mental and emotional stuff go.
Right.
So I think this could be a good topic, and we'll get Camille in here to talk with us one day. And she's done some research on this, but good book. And it's really helpful to see that rest comes in many different forms, and that's what you have to work on. So we'll come back to this, right?
That sounds good.
Yeah.
And that's kind of in line with all the things that, you know, we're talking about too, with, you know, the different types of rest, with the different types of, or the different kinds of ways that we can experience that self-love by taking care of ourselves, you know, with so many different things, you know.
Let's let Mary weigh in a little bit, if you don't mind.
Oh,
Oh, Mary, don't look. That was the deer in the headlights look. Where do you fall on this? I know you are a caretaker. And right now, as you just said, you had a very stressful week. What's something, do you have anything in place to take care of you, or are you sort of, you know, or is this a good topic for you today?
It's always a good topic. I was a total introvert. And this is, you know, growing up. So
Yeah, me too.
I had no self-love at all. I had a very bad self-esteem. I had no self-esteem. But eventually, I was also in an abusive relationship, so that didn't help. But that also brought it to a head. I remember waking up one day and saying, nobody in this world can be as bad as that man tells me I am, even me. So, and then I started, and I was 40 years old when that happened.
My goodness.
But no, not 40, 30.
Okay.
So, but I'm a work in progress. Very slowly, I fall backwards, I come forwards, I fall backwards. I escape a lot, which helps me to calm down.
Oh, that's
I'll go read a book. Read a book that has nothing to do with getting better or anything. It's just going to take me away somewhere. Or I just recently started crafting, so that helps me too. And I've been making cards that say, you matter, you are enough, you know, things like that. I've been making them for my son, but they're also for me.
Right.
So, and I'm a work in progress. I mean, I'm also an emotional eater, so I'm happy I eat. I'm sad I eat, which is not taking care of myself, but I'm working on it.
Right.
Little bit by little bit. I fall back, one step forward, two step back, but I still keep taking that step forward to try and do something. And it's difficult, but I can only rely on me.
Right.
So,
Right.
and I'm responsible for me. So I have to take care of myself. So
that's amazing. You said two things that really stuck with me. One is that I didn't take my mind wise this morning. One that we said we're all a work in progress, right? We all are. Some people just don't know it. Some people don't admit it. They want to appear like they're perfect, like everything is great with the world. And those are probably the people who need more self-love, that need to really stop, because they're putting up facades, right? So just admitting that we're all a work in progress gives you permission to make mistakes and gives you permission to have bad days, but also let's try the next routine. Let's get moving again, right? And the second thing you said that I really loved was that you escape, that escapism, which is a necessary part. I think some people would say, well, you're avoiding reality, but but no, sometimes you have to do that in order to shut out all of the crap that's happening. Go and read a book that has nothing to do with anything, not a self-help book, but a book for pleasure that'll take you away and let you
Make you feel good.
relax.
Yeah.
And I think that's an amazing thing. I think I hadn't even thought about that. I'm even going to write that down because I don't often make time for that for myself. I guess my guilty pleasure is like I play solitaire on the phone, or I play Words with Friends, or I play games. And I like the idea maybe I should spend more time in quiet and read, for whatever. I have so many books. I have like a book fetish. I have so many books that I've collected but haven't read. I'll, page through them and look at for different parts, but I'm proud of myself for getting a third of the way through this, but now I have to finish it. But I like that idea of just do something that takes you away so that you can reset and calm down and, get away from the problems for a little while. That's good self-care.
Yeah.
I used to do Calgon take me away, but then it got difficult to get out of the Calgon.
And Calgon's probably not a good choice, right?
Right.
Well,
Epsom
it wasn't
salts.
really Calgon. I never even bought Calgon. It's just sitting in a hot tub and,
Yeah.
before the oils, I
Depressing.
just sat in there and just fell asleep most of the time.
Right. Wow.
Just to relax my entire body.
Yep.
Yeah.
Nice.
But that's proving very difficult in this stage of my life.
Yeah. And you know what? At this stage in your life, your boys should be taking care of you. And so that's stressful in itself, I'm sure.
I keep telling them that, but they don't listen. So I do have one son who, though has his own problems, he helps me all the time. So
That's good.
yeah. And the other son says he wants to start helping. Says he's gonna, I visited him once in the hospital. I decided to let him deal with this himself, basically. I did go up because he was bored and he had nothing, so I brought up his iPad and, whatever, some books. And I didn't stay an hour. I stayed an hour and that was it. But
I think his willingness to want to help you is a good thing, because that might be, well, I think that could help him with his self-worth, that he is valuable, that that you need him. And also maybe there's a little bit of escapism in there too, that if he's helping you, he's not thinking about all the other things that may be affecting him. So I think that's a healthy choice, and maybe nurture that for him, and have your short list of things that you need help with. So that way you can give him something to get him into, a new routine, or, just give him something.
Well, we just moved, so there's plenty of things to help.
Right.
So, but I'm getting there. With their help, I'm getting there. So.
Right. Well, good. I love that you have such a positive attitude about that. Yeah,
I have to.
Well, some of the we'll do a quick overview here with self-care. We found out through there's so much out there. Like I have a ton of websites to investigate now, but one that I liked was from Dr. Axe, and he's at draxe.com. And you can probably search for that on self-care. He actually has a self-care checklist, and it's, more bloggy than that, and talks about what self-care is. And it's taking care of your personal health and well-being. And it's involves the physical, mental, emotional, social, professional, environmental, spiritual, and personal. So there's a lot of different elements in there, and some of them are called by different names and they overlap, but it's all meant to, promote your optimal health, prevent illness, because when you're not at your optimal health, even mental health, disease and illness can set in. And it also helps to detect symptoms early and manage chronic disease. So he's got a checklist of all of those things that he talks about. With physical, we're going to talk more about that next week, but getting enough sleep, exercising, your diet, supporting your gut health, and boosting your immune function. I would also say that hydration falls into that, all of those things. But social health, mental and emotional health, spiritual, I mentioned these, environmental. He talked about spending time earthing, like just being in your bare feet on the grass and making contact with the earth. It helps to reduce stress, improve sleep, and boost energy. I thought that was kind of cool. So he made it like kind of a checklist, but it's not a checklist. Like it's an outline. But I think creating a checklist is a great thing to do, so that you have a list of the things that can help you. And I started to do that. So I have this checklist that I made for myself, and I like to do graphics. So of course I spent time being fancy about it, but I have all the activities. I have Monday through Sunday. It says love yourself daily challenge, or yeah. And I call it a challenge because I don't expect to be successful 100% of the time, but that's the goal. Like I want to, these are the things that I want to do. I want to add to my life. But either I don't remember or I don't make time and life gets in the way. And it serves as a checklist for me to show what I am doing well, so I can take that and be positive about it and say, oh, good for you. You know, you had a glass of water with vinegar, apple cider vinegar in it every day. Good for you. And then to look at the areas where I failed, like exercise or meditation, and say, okay, you're ignoring these parts of your life. So you can't be totally healthy. You can't, be on this journey of wellness if you're ignoring certain parts of your body and of your life and of your mind. So for me, it serves as a place to say, glaringly, that this is what you have to work on. Good for you on these things, but this is what you have to work on. And it also serves as a reminder. I put my list, this is just a blank one, but I put it on the refrigerator. And every day when I do the morning activities, which is either to drink about an 8 to 10 ounce glass of water with apple cider vinegar or fresh lemon juice, because that helps to clean things out. I also have another drink a health drink that I do, my Ningxia Red and Mindwise, which I didn't get to yet today. My vitamins and supplements, which I forget all the time. Oil Up, I did that today. Exercise. You probably can't see it, but in the exercise section, I have 4 little boxes. And they're 15, I think of them as 15 minutes each. So that way I can start small. I don't have to exercise for an hour. If I do 15 minutes of stretching, I can check off a box and show progress.
Exercise doesn't have to be a set routine of, doing crunches and doing,
take a walk,
squats or whatever. Yeah, take a walk. Go. I mean, well, here in Michigan, we can't really ride our bikes right now where I live because we got some more snow today.
I got to get my bike fixed.
Take a walk, even if it's an indoor, depending on if you have malls anymore or not, but a big store, walk around that at a little quicker pace, not really to look at everything. You can do that on your second trip around, but your first trip around, just like kind of glance and, get some movement in, put on music at home and just like move to the music. It doesn't have to be anything fancy or overly strenuous. It's like you said, 15-minute increments of getting your body moving and your blood flowing.
Yep. The other things on here are meditation. That's one I haven't really started yet. And that can be just 10 minutes of just quiet, reflective, work on your breathing kind of thing. And again, I'm terrible at taking that time out of my day because, I look at my to-do list and I'm like, oh, I don't have any time to do anything but what's on my to-do list. But I'm retired. So how much do I possibly have to do? I got to put it in perspective. And then hydration. I always lose track. I know I don't drink enough water and I lose track of how much. So I think I might do something. It might be a business opportunity. I don't know. I thought if I could make a vinyl cling for your glass with numbers. And so when you have your first glass of water, you put the 1 on there and then you take it off and you put the 2 on there when you get to your second glass. I'm thinking, how am I going to remember? And I do check them off, but even when I check them off, I'm like, was that the glass I started or the glass I finished? So I might be not accurate with checking. So I thought, oh, I'm going to make some vinyl clings. And I got this whole marketing thing going on here. I put them in a little folder, and so people could take them out, and then you put it back, and you put the 2 on, you put the 3 on, you get your 8 glasses a day or however many.
If you have your mind wise, you might forget where you put that little folder.
Oh, okay.
Teasing.
Or maybe, it's a water bottle that has the numbers on it already with just a ring that moves.
Oh, I like that idea.
And then you just move the ring to what number you're on. How many times have you filled it?
I like that idea.
All right, I'm going to market that and I'm going to sell a bunch and pay off my house or something. I don't know.
There you go.
So yeah, so this is just a one way. And there are a million checklists for self-care and self-love out there. I know because I made a whole folder of them and we'll share them as we go through, but there's so many different ways. But I think there's even some that are just blank that you can fill out for the things that you want to work on. So that way you're paying attention to the things that you need to pay attention to. And I would always put a couple things on here that you're already doing that show that you love yourself. And that can be a positive reinforcement that this is how I'm taking care of myself. Even if it's like have a piece of fruit every day or something, And
we just need to change the word of, we're not going to use the word failed to do, or I failed at today.
Mm-hmm.
How about I need to work on this tomorrow.
Right.
And be better tomorrow. Even if it's like 1 more glass of water or 1 more 15-minute, or even the first 15-minute increment of getting your body moving. Because sometimes I think with words, people have mental blocks then, and that mental block stops your physical or your whatever to want to do it, your drive to do it. That word fail.
That goes to
take away that fail.
We looked a little bit into positive self-talk and the words that we use can really have an effect on us. So I know my daughter hated this. She was taking a class or a seminar online and they said, no, don't say I have to do something. You say I get to do something, but she hated that. But it is true, Yep. It's an attitude adjustment. It's like, oh, I have to go do the laundry. Yeah, that's not a good example. I get to go do the laundry.
I want to do the laundry because I want to have clean clothes to wear because I really love that outfit that's in there.
Right. Oh, I get to wear that outfit if I do my laundry.
Or that top or whatever. Yeah. Because that one top makes me feel good.
Yeah. And with that the positive self-talk, we can take it just at face value with the physical, where you can look in the mirror and what you see and the things that you tell yourself can really have that effect on your body. So like I'm looking at the mirror and I'm thinking, I don't like what I see, but I'm going to focus on, well, you still got a pretty face and you don't have many wrinkles. So we got something to work with here. And now we can work on some of those other items because you are worthwhile. Right. Everybody is worthwhile. God put you here for a purpose. And sometimes people find it right away and some people come slower to it. But it's he loves you, and so you need to love yourself. And that's all there is to it. So you have to find ways to grow and, do the things that can help take care of you.
Can I say one thing?
Yeah.
I'm religious, I'm Catholic, but I always, one of the ways I got out of a lot of things would say, God don't make junk.
Mm-hmm.
And then I would say, and God made me.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm not junk.
Right.
Right.
And that was one of the ways that I keep, I say that quite often. God don't make junk. So,
Right.
and I believe that wholeheartedly.
Right. And I think one of the things I tell myself is that I have an obligation to take care of myself because God gave me this life. And if I'm not taking care of myself, I'm disrespecting God as well. So you take care of yourself to show God that you're worthwhile and that you can go on for whatever purpose you were intended, to go out and help other people. So that's what I try to tell myself is like, okay, you have to do this not only for yourself, but because this isn't the body you were given, so let's get back to, for me personally, I had this struggle with my weight. I have a love relationship with food. I love everything. There's, how people put those things up on Facebook and they say, give yourself a point for everything you won't eat. And my scores are usually like less than 5 because I will eat anything. I love food. But I just need to be able to focus that now into loving healthy food more than the junk food. And love myself in that way, like treat my body right. And start moving it and all of that. So you're all my witnesses. Now I have to do that. I was looking at my opened websites here and I realized I had 2 of the same. That's not going to be helpful. There's another list here and some of the same things are listed, but I liked some of the things that she said. The first thing, I don't know who's this written by. It's called 17 Ways to Learn to Love Yourself and Be Happy by Jade Nix, a qualified life coach, whatever that means. I don't know who qualifies her, but it says self-love and happiness aren't found, they are created. And loving yourself is one of the most productive things you can do for your life. Because all of that doubt, self-hate, and underestimating is holding you back from reaching your full potential and, of course, happiness. One thing I disagree with that is I think you make your own happiness, and I think happiness is a choice. So you can choose to be happy and grateful about the things that you have and then build from there. But her number one thing is cast out the idea that you have to be perfect. And that is amazing because I do have that problem of feeling like when I put myself out there, when I do something, it has to be perfect. I have a really hard time with putting out work that isn't my best. But sometimes you just have to let yourself go and say, what is it we say in Young Living? Done is better than perfect.
Right.
Just
exactly.
getting it out there. But the part of me is like, well, that one graphic that you posted that I found for you, and it was bothering me and I couldn't figure out what was wrong with it and had a typo in it. And it wasn't something that we could correct. So it's like, oh, well, put it out there. We like this graphic. We just don't like the spelling mistake. But, that would be something that would irk me. And if it were mine and I would catch that, I'd go back and fix it. And I would tell everybody, here's the new one.
That's okay.
Yeah. Her number 2 is understand that society's expectations of you are an unrealistic standard that can never be met, right? We're bombarded with the perfect life on commercials and TV shows and things like that. Everybody's got this perfect life. And that's just not true, right? I think you need to be happy with what you have and you build your own happiness, but living up to somebody else's standards is never going to work. Number 3, live in the moment, just for a moment every day, just for a moment. That's powerful, because I think it's really difficult to live in the moment all the time, right? But number 4, and this is, I don't know if you're looking at this too, Kathy, but number 4 is daily gratitude. And she says that is the key to happiness. Starting a gratitude journal, it says an Instagram channel, a blog, or just spend 3 minutes each day thinking of all the things that you're grateful for. Your body, your life, your friends, your country, M&Ms, how great that old pan has lasted you, how that person on the bus let you off first, little tiny things in our lives. And it's a game changer. It really is. Like I said, I've always been a glass half full kind of person, but when I added the gratitude on, there's not much that can go wrong that's going to bug me, because I see how many blessings and miracles are all around me, and I'm grateful for that. And I do spend time every night, counting my blessings and thanking God for these blessings. And I even have a journal, which started out as, right, 3 things I'm grateful for every day. Then it changed into 10 things I'm grateful for every day, and I try to make a list, and I try to beat my list every day and try to do more things that I'm grateful for. But currently it's more about my prayer book. And I find that this is a place where I can share my feelings, share my gratitude, and talk with God, and be able to express the things that are on my heart. And once I put them in here, I can let them go and know that God has my back. And I think that's a big part of it as well. And I know there's people who don't believe in God. There's people who don't have religion in their life. I don't feel like I have religion, but I have God. And I feel like that's made a big difference for me, and it allows me to speak honestly with myself, because you can't lie to God. So I can put a lot of things in here that I might not say to somebody else. I might not even like to admit to myself, but when I put it down in here, it makes me deal with it, and it makes me realize, the next step, or helps me to understand that this is just a stage. This is just one step in life. But start with practicing gratitude. I think that is amazing for a whole, I don't know, the self-love is looking around you and being grateful for what you do have, because there is so much. All right, I've talked enough. Somebody else talk.
I think with that, being grateful and writing in your journal like that is also almost like a form of meditation too, because you're unloading all that, you're getting rid of that. So you're clearing your mind so you can, that's a relaxation
Right.
for you as well. I like
Sometimes I do it in the morning over coffee. Sometimes I do it before bed. And sometimes I'll guilt myself to doing it in the middle of the day if I haven't had the chance to do it. And I don't do it every day anymore, because usually when I start to write, I'll write pages and pages. So it gets exhausting to feel like I have to do that every day. So I let myself go there. I gave myself a little, out that, no, I don't have to do that every day. But I do say my prayers every night and thank God for all those wonderful things and wonderful.
Right. Even if they're not written down, if they're spoken either, verbally, where you're saying it out loud or in your mind to God, like you said, I think that really helps too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Sometimes I don't even think to write it down. I just, go to bed at night, start saying my prayers, and that's where, you can release a lot as well.
Yeah. And let the day go.
Right.
Let it go.
And try not to
know that when you wake up, you can start again. You get to have another day, and you get to have another chance at that improvement of whatever you wanted to do, what you wanted to accomplish.
Exactly.
There always is another day. I'm going to look at my notes really quickly to see what else we had. Yeah, I think we talked a little bit about, like, we give so much to other people, but we don't give as much to ourselves. You know, when you're a caretaker or even a parent,
Mm-hmm.
you know, or in my case, a child taking care of a parent. He's pretty independent. I don't have to worry about that too much. But when you're giving so much, you have to give to yourself as well.
I think the other thing, when you do give so much, and, you know, people will sometimes gravitate toward you because they know you're willing to do this or help with that or whatever. But you also have to get back to yourself that one word where you can say no and not feel bad about that. If you're feeling overwhelmed and someone asks you to do something, or you're feeling like, you know, you're being suffocated, or you're just exhausted mentally, physically, whatever, it's okay to say no.
Right.
It's okay to say no. You don't, and same thing with our checklists. I mean, when we're checking off the things that we do for the day or that are helping us, if you're just not into it at that moment, it's okay to say, no, I just can't do that right now. Or I just don't care to do that right now. Or if somebody's asking you and you don't want to say no to them directly, you can say, let me just think about that and I'll let you know tomorrow, or whatever, you know, your thing is. It's just, you know, when you already have so much on you, don't add that extra stress if you have a choice for it,
Right.
you know.
It's
And if
okay to
someone's
say no.
asking, that's a choice, right? It's no, I can't right now. Might be able to help you later on or whatever, but right now it's not a good time for me. You know, it's okay to say no.
Yeah, and it's actually necessary. I was just thinking of something that we want to do, but we only talked about it briefly, is that because, so if you're watching this through Living Well and Wise, we'll put some links to some of the things that we've been talking about today, some checklists and things like that. But if you are catching this on Linda Loves Lavender, lindaloveslab.com, then there's no way to put things in the links in there. So I would say we're gonna create a form that you can click on to say, could you send me links or send me more information? But before we do that, for now, I'll just put my phone number up there. And now I'll say what it's for. Text for links and info. So if you want to see something that we've talked about, or a piece of a website or something like that, or you want to reach out for some reason, go ahead and text to this number and we'll send you the links. We'll send you whatever information you need. But and then eventually we will set up a Google form or something that you can just kind of fill out, and it will go to the person that invited you to Living Well and Wise, or you can choose the person you want to talk to, I suppose. I'll give them Mary's number too. So that'll be one way to get the links if you're only watching this through a replay on the website on Linda Loves Lab. Okay, so we're almost out of time, although we never end on time anyway, but one product we talked about was the Tranquil roller from Young Living that can help you kind of relax and calm down. I used it for bed, right before bed sometimes to help. Do you use that one, Kath?
Yes, I do. Just kind of, you know, it's almost like that calm roller that I have, but I do like this, and it's already has a carrier oil mixed in it, so you don't have to worry about,
Right.
you know, adding carrier to it and then putting it on. But like Linda said, it's very calming. It releases tension and helps you with anxiety, you know, restlessness. If you know, your mind keeps wandering at night, which sometimes mine does, grab it and just like put it on, you know, each side of my neck down by my carotid arteries here or on my wrists. Is, you know, it is relaxing.
And for daytime use, Valor.
Valor is awesome.
Valor is awesome. I use this as my signature scent. And I put it behind my ears and on my wrists. And you have to be careful though, because if you put it on your body, you want to rub it in because it has blue tansy in it and it comes out blue. So I just rub it in.
Between Valor and Stress Away and frankincense were my 3 top oils when I first started using oils, and then lavender as well, 4 top oils. But those are still in my top 5 of oils that I just absolutely love, and I bought, you know, separately because I go through them.
Right. I have the bottle of lavender that I use, put on my wrists every day in the morning. And then I have the roll-on, which has the carrier in it, that I keep on my desk, and I have one in my purse. So I can pull this out anytime I'm feeling like frazzled and tense during the day. Do you have a DIY for us today?
I do have a DIY, and this is all part of self-love too, I think, because I think it will actually help you kind of just like relax. And what did I do with my recipe here? I know it's somewhere.
It's in your head, you know it.
I'll wink it. Okay, what I'm going to make today is eucalyptus peppermint foot soak. Nice and relaxing. The aroma coming up from it is always nice and relaxing as well. And it's made with half a cup of Epsom salts and a half a cup of pink Himalayan sea salt. And I use the finely ground one because it dissolves easier.
Oh, and I've used some really rough stuff, and it like for a scrub, and it can cut up your feet. So I like that.
So you're going to start with your, you know, you're going to have your jar available to you too. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to mix it right in a larger measuring cup to make it easier. And I've already measured out my half a cup of Epsom salt. So I'll just pour that right in there. And a half a cup of pink Himalayan sea salt. And before I add the oils to it, I'm going to kind of stir it up just so it'll be, you know, soak in there better. And, you know, this will already be mixed and it won't clump up. And then I am going to add a half a teaspoon of baking soda. And stir that up in there, because what that'll do, it'll help kind of, you know, get those oils mixed in there. It'll stay a little more stabilized as far as, you know, what I'm adding to it. And then I have my peppermint oil, and I'm going to use eucalyptus radiata, but you can use either eucalyptus globulus or radiata. And I like to put myself, I like to put at least probably 8 drops of each in here. Well, that had to be about 3 that poured out of there. We have about 8 drops of peppermint in there. And again, this doesn't have to be so perfect. I mean, you could go a little bit more, a little bit less on the different measurements, but whatever, you know, is good for you. And the eucalyptus. And once you mix these 2 together, it smells so good. I think it clears my sinuses too. There we go. And we'll just give that a nice stir in there to make sure it's not just clumpy. And when you're doing your foot soak, depending on how much water you have, you could pour, you know, maybe half of this in there or a third of it in there, whatever you feel, you know, you want to use. It could also be good for a, you know, soak in the bathtub too. And I want you guys to see this because I found this little gem hidden in my cabinet. Look at that. It's a wide mouth funnel.
I need one of those.
Isn't that awesome? I didn't even know I had it.
I
like
had taken the plastic ones and cut them off,
Yeah. So
but that one's perfect.
fits perfectly in this 8-ounce jar top.
Need one.
Isn't that great? And so now I don't have to worry about spilling this all over my desk here. Linda, this will be great for your office.
Yeah, I would still spill it. I know it.
Okay. And then just kind of give it a little tap to make sure everything's down in there. And it's ready.
Voila.
And just label your top. I just used a little, you know, the little labeler maker to do it. But I mean, you can print off some, if you're doing this with a group of your friends, you could print off a sheet of these off your computer from Avery or something, and it's ready to go.
How much would you use in it? Like if you're doing a foot soak, and if you had a basin of water or something like that?
I use half of it.
Oh, really?
You know, almost half of it. I mean, you can go, you know, a couple of tablespoons if you want, but I use about half of it because I like the aroma to come up too. And I think if I put more in there, I'm getting more of that aroma. But you don't have to use that much. You can use, you know, 1 or 2 tablespoons. You could use half of it. You could use a third of it.
Right.
It's up to you. But
All right. I like that.
the smell of it.
My feet could use that right now, probably.
Just even a little bit that's left over in the container here. My measuring cup smells wonderful. But pick up one of these, Linda. I don't know if these were used for like canning
It
or
looks like maybe a canning one.
it could be a canning funnel
got
type
into
of
canning.
thing. You know, this might have been one from my mom's house way back when, and she gave it to me and I kept it. And
What a nice find.
you know, I found it this morning. I was like, this is awesome.
Yeah.
Because I was worried about, you know, I was going to cover my desk. And I thought, oh no, now I don't even have to do that.
Denise says, thanks, Kathy. She's watching with us today.
Oh, hi, Denise.
Okay, so we're just about done. I think, like I said in the beginning, we're changing our format up a little bit. We're not going to be so heavy on talking about oils all the time, but please know that you can come to either of us or whoever put you into the Living Well and Wise group if you are interested in learning more about essential oils. And Young Living is the place to go for that. So, or, you know, through us, whoever put you in this group. And we, all 3 of us use oils pretty regularly. It's become a lifestyle. You can see mine. I'm a collector. So.
Yeah, me too.
Yep. Yep. And that's a belief. That's not a sales pitch. That is a set of beliefs, and this is how we live our lives now. So we just want other people to know that you have choices when it comes to your health.
And it's not just all about the oils. They have so many other things as well, you know, so many different products that are healthier to use than off the grocery store shelf.
Remove the toxins, ditch and switch. So
there you go.
Any last words? What are you going to do today? What are you going to do to love yourself today?
Oh, I like that.
I'm asking. Anybody have an idea?
I think I might just have to go treat myself somewhere, you know, like at a store or something, if I can get out with the snow.
I did go out I went out to lunch and shopping with a friend on Thursday, which I've told you that I've kind of been in a slump and not wanting to leave at all. You know, I got up, got dressed, put on makeup, and we went out and we had a nice time. So that was a boost. That actually gave me energy to like tackle my taxes yesterday. So, but yeah, little things like that. I'm going to go make sure that I do everything on my list today. I'm
Do you
gonna
have
go.
massage on your list, or is that on your weekend?
No, no,
Yeah.
that's sort of the extra perks and things like that. You know, that's a different kind of self-love. For me, I have to start with the basics. So I'm going to make sure I get all my supplements and that I take some time to go stretch and do some meditation today. That's going to be my number one goal. So that I can feel good about myself, that, yeah, you're not just a loser, like hanging out in this house and being lazy and taking advantage of being retired. There's so much more work to be done in this world, and it starts with me. So I got to take care of me first. You got anything, Mary? Anything you're going to do to take care of yourself?
I'm thinking of going to Brownwood tonight and listen to the music.
Oh, that would be
Oh.
nice.
Music
Mary,
I
we're gonna
love.
we're gonna be down in the villages around, and we usually stay in that Brownwood area there.
Oh, cool.
We are gonna be down there I think in April sometime.
Oh, nice.
So when we get down there, I'll have to give you a buzz, give Linda a buzz. Maybe we
Yeah.
can set something up for us.
That'll be fun. And Mary, you just by getting up when you're so tired, you got up and you came and joined us today. You did something for yourself. So
Yeah. Well, I had to set the alarm, but
breakfast with Kathy? Denise says breakfast with Kathy. I'm not sure what she's referring to. Maybe that's what she wants to do.
Yeah, sounds like a good idea.
Good thing, good plan. I know.
Yes.
I saw a restaurant that has a great breakfast that I think I want to take Dick to, because we don't get to go out for dinner very much anymore. So be like little morning date, go out for breakfast. So
There you
We have a
go.
new restaurant just right down the street from us, and it has very similar items that can't remember the name of the other restaurant now because we haven't been there in so long. But anyway, I think I need more Mindwise today.
I know I'm gonna go do that.
But they have a lot of healthy options on there, which is great. You know, so and they're healthy options, but they're good. I mean, they're not, bad for you, totally
Right.
bad for you options. So you feel like you're cheating and you're not.
Right. Yeah,
That's always good.
absolutely. Well, good. We all have a plan. We're all going to go out and love ourselves. And if you're watching, I hope you take some time to think about what you can do to love yourself. And next week, we'll be back to talk about physical things that you can do, physical things to love yourself and take care of yourself. And Kathy, you'll be mobile. You'll be in the car. Hopefully you have good signal at that point, wherever you happen to be. Till then, I hope you guys all have a good week and do something nice for yourself.
Thank you, everyone. Have a
Thanks.
wonderful week.
Yeah.
All right. Take care.
Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye, Denise.